Hello, hello, hello. It is Zena Krogodal, your American Dream Makers host today. I am thrilled to have two very special guests on this show today. I cannot wait to introduce them. But first, here is the intro. Here we go. Hi, everyone. It's Zena Krogodal live, and it's Friday, May 12th. It's an amazing day, sunny day here in Prescott, Arizona. And I am so excited to introduce to you Ben and Sasha Naasz. They are amazing people in our community. I'm just not even gonna wait. I'm gonna bring them up here because I can't wait to talk to them. Hi guys, how are you?
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Great.
Yep, very good. Friday.
Yeah, we just came from circuit training class, so we're feeling our best.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, everyone that is joining us live, please be sure to share this out. Ben and Sasha are amazing people. They have an amazing message that the world needs to hear, not just the Prescott Valley, Prescott area, guys. So make sure you like and share and spread the word. Okay, without further ado, Ben and Sasha, tell us where it all began.
Ooh, the beginning.
The beginning. We met in Los Angeles. We were both in LA pursuing dance and acting careers. And when you're an actor in Los Angeles and a dancer in Los Angeles, you wait a lot of tables.
You work a lot of jobs.
You work a lot of extra jobs. So we met in a restaurant where I was working. She came and interviewed with my manager. And I told the guys, back off, that's going to be my wife the first time I saw her. And then I had to ask her out 12 times to get her to go out with me. And eventually I wore her down. And then that's how we started.
Well, that's pretty awesome that you were that persistent. And I don't blame you that first night you're like, she's mine, back off.
Yeah.
I was very busy. I didn't want a boyfriend. So it was funny because every time I was working, he'd come up to me. He's like, hey, we should hang out sometime. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, sure. But like he never followed through, but I didn't really want him to because I'm like, I'm busy. I'm auditioning. I'm doing my thing. I just moved here. And I was working another serving job. I was on, Sunset? It was an amazing waitressing job where like all the famous people came in and somehow he got in and he had his backup friend with him. He looked like a bouncer and I'm working. He kind of cornered me. He's like, hey, what do you do on Sunday? And I'm like, well, that's my day off. And then that's when he closed the deal. He's like, I can pick you up at this time, take you to dinner, la, la, la. So I couldn't refuse. And then the rest is history.
Yeah.
I realized he wasn't one of those annoying actors that everybody wants to be an actor out in LA. I'm like, oh, yeah, frosted tip hair. Like, no, I don't think.
Yeah, I was working I had a stand-in job for a CBS sitcom, and the kid I was standing in for was blonde, so they frosted my hair. So I looked like a total LA snob. But
yeah, but I discovered he was not. And the more we got talking during dinner, I was just like, oh man.
I'm charming.
How long? Yes, very charming. So how long did it take you to know that this was the man you were going to marry? He knew before he even talked to you. So when did you know?
I know it. It was probably that first date. I mean, I was only 22, just turned 22. So I was still young and I wasn't really thinking of, marriage and all that yet because I was pursuing my dance career. But yeah, the more I got to know him, I was like, oh crap. Oh no, because, I wanted to do my thing out there. So we were dating and every date was better and better. And it's funny because he really laid it on thick with schmoozing me because he took me to one of the nicest restaurants in LA. It overlooks the city, Yamashiro's.
Yeah.
and sushi restaurants, amazing. And then my second date with him, he's like, oh yeah, I'll pick. Oh, and here's the other thing. He picks me up on his bike. So when he told me, he's like, I'll come pick you up. I have a bike. And I'm like, oh, great. He's got a crotch rocket. I hate those things. And he shows up and it's a cruiser in my favorite Purple Rain purple color. He didn't tell me he bought it for me, but he actually bought me a helmet. And he ordered a sissy bar, which is like the backrest, but it didn't come in time. So when he picked me up, and he didn't tell me any of this, and he gives me the helmet and I get on, and like, if there's no sissy bar, you have to hold on for dear life. And so I think maybe that was fate for him to do that, or really his ultimate plan was for me to hug him on our first date. But yeah, so he's like, I'll pick you up. So second day, he's like, I'll pick you up on the bike, and we're just gonna go down the road, a quiet little theater. There's a nice show that's playing. We'll just go see it. It was the Pantages Theater, and it was Lion King. So I was like, oh my God. Yeah, he was very charming. But it's funny, this was in January. By February,
Valentine's Day,
I was broke. Okay, so we went Dutch. We went out to dinner and I paid for mine and he paid for his because he couldn't afford it. But, it didn't matter. And I think that's when he realized, like, all right, she's a keeper because she doesn't care, because I didn't. So
she was making much more money waiting as a cocktail waitress than I was as a server at the restaurant.
Well, I guess that's not a surprise. I mean,
no, it's not.
And well, at least you weren't broke when you first started dating her, because that could have been a little.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Yeah.
At least it was after she had already was like, okay, he's okay.
Yeah, right. I just think it's funny. He thought that I needed that because I really didn't. I was, getting to know him and all that made me realize what kind of person he was. But it was nice to see Lion King.
Yeah, it's a good show.
I bet. And how awesome. I mean, you two have a lot of the same passions.
Yeah, a lot. And it's funny. So I'm a dancer, not an actress at all. In fact, the first time I was ever on stage speaking or singing, also not a singer, was Chicago last year. I've never, unless you count fourth grade Jungle Book, but like I took to dance in high school and just loved it so much. My brother was the actor in our family, singer. So, but with dance, I have big passion for it. And one of our earlier dates, he took me to the Derby, which back in that day, swing dance was really popular.
They were going through a retro sort of, it was coming back.
So cool. He took me there, and it's crazy. He just took me out on the dance floor, and it's like we'd been dancing all our lives together. Like he just had these moves and I picked him up right away. And it's been like that ever since. Like we could just go out and freestyle and we know exactly what we're doing together.
Yeah, I fake it really well.
You do an amazing job. And I saw Chicago with you guys in there. You both were fabulous. I mean, that whole cast, I know you guys had a lot to do with the production of it.
Yes.
I don't even know how you guys slept during that time.
We didn't, but it was so worth it. That was a dream. That was a dream job for sure. Nanette Hofer had us come on her production team, and what a blessing. I mean, Ben and I have always worked together since day one, but to be able to share that experience together, because he designed and built the set, and for me to choreograph, and then for us to be in the show, like that was just a dream. So worth it. And we loved it so much.
That's awesome. So you guys were in LA when you met. You were trying to break into the whole entertainment industry.
Yeah. I'd been there for 3.5 years. I did 1.5 years at the University of Arizona grad school before I went. I didn't finish that master's program. I left halfway through. And then I went to LA for 3.5 years. We met 2.5 years into that, something like that. And then I got a letter from the college, from the University of Arizona, that said, if you don't come back, you're going to lose your credits. And I'd been there 3.5 years, and I was kind of getting,
jaded.
It's a tough,
it's a tough city.
That's a tough thing to try to accomplish. So I was like, I think I'm ready to go back. Her parents lived in Phoenix at the time. And so I said, hey, you want to come back with me? She was doing better than I was. But she followed me anyways.
Yeah, I just moved there, and we didn't start dating. So I moved in May, I think, and we started dating in January, and then we moved to Tucson the following May. So I was only there a year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was doing well. I got an agent. There was a cattle call for an agency, and I went to it the first week I moved, and I got into the agency, which is crazy.
It's crazy.
And
it's awesome.
I got a bunch of like industrial gigs, commercials. My two favorites were I was in a Destiny's Child music video, and no, they weren't there. That would have been extra cool. And then, dang it, what's that show? I keep forgetting.
It's the alien one.
It's so old that I don't even remember it. It's
anyway.
got David Duchovny in it. Do you know which one that is?
I don't remember that.
I can't.
I know it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyways, I got an episode. I was an Italian dancer in some street festival. Best gig ever, because I was probably maybe 20 seconds in a scene, but you only see me for 2 seconds. But it paid me for years.
Yeah,
we moved to Tucson, and I kept getting paychecks. I'm like, holy crap. So every time,
for a long time.
Every time the show aired, I'd get a big check. I'm like, wow. I think my last check, somehow they found me when we moved here, was like 5 cents.
Yeah.
But for years,
residuals are
I would
awesome.
get these residuals.
And I think you got paid hazard pay because they wet the street.
Yes.
They sprayed the street down for her scene, so it's wet. So the actual paycheck was because you get hazard pay for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
The industry out there is really, really difficult. I mean, dancers, actors, singers, they're, as they would say, my first dance job, the director said, dancers are a dime a dozen. So I learned that early on in my career, but it was fun to pursue.
X-Files. Somebody just said X-Files.
X-Files.
That's what it was.
The one.
Thanks,
wow,
Heidi.
brain.
Heidi.
45 next week. My brain's starting to slip.
X-Files. That's what it was.
Yes, and that ran for quite some time, the X-Files.
Yeah,
so,
it did.
Yeah, so and on multiple cable networks. That's why she kept getting residuals, because they just kept selling it to other channels, and she gets paid for that. It was great.
That's awesome. I got to meet 9-time Broadway star James Barber this last year, and he was telling us how 65% of actresses really make $15,000 a year.
Yeah.
And talking about how tough auditions really are. And it takes a long time to break into the industry to make money.
Yeah, and you have to be willing to put that time in. Yeah. I did 3.5, 4 years, and I was like, there was guys that were working at the restaurant with us that were 10 years older than me, have been doing it for 15 years, and we're still talking about, well, one of my students is, trying to live vicariously through their students. And I was like, I'm not gonna still be at this restaurant 10 years from now.
Yeah,
so
it's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah. So you went back to Arizona. When did you decide to come up to Prescott Valley area? We
both finished school. So I finished my master's degree, and she finished her bachelor's of science at the University of Arizona. We finished that. And then we both were hired. When we were done, there was a local high school that was looking for a director of dance and the theater director. So they were basically hiring both of those positions. And so it was like fate.
Too perfect.
Yeah, we just rolled right into the high school.
Literally have worked together since the day we met.
Yeah, since the beginning. Yeah. So we did that for 5 years as the director of dance and the director of theater, and kind of tore that place up. It was great.
Yeah, I got pregnant, and
our
last year there is when we decided it was too much for us with our baby girl Leela.
Yeah, because we were at the school 10 hours a day. There was the normal 8-hour day plus rehearsals.
More than that. So shows for him. I had competitive dance teams, just the same craziness, but with a newborn and no family, no help. We had friends, but they had their own little kids too. So it's like,
and Bud and Millie. We had Bud and Millie.
Oh, we had our neighbors, Bud and Millie. They're amazing. But yeah, we decided we needed to get a better paying job, less time working, because, if you're a teacher, your job doesn't stop when you leave. It's all the time. So we both got a job at the county health department together.
Yeah.
I was doing the play program. It was like teaching schools how to have a PE program, because most of the schools in Tucson did not have PE. So I would bring them jump ropes and soccer balls and, you know, all the equipment, and then teach them games. So like the regular teachers could take their kids out and do like a PE class. And then, which ties into my health education degree that I got at U of A. And then Ben got the smoking cessation program for youth. And he put together commercials for it, like PSA. So that was like right into his directing
it was fun.
skills that he wanted to flex. And so, yeah, we did that for only a year.
Just under.
We hated it. We absolutely hated that job. We are not meant for
Cubicles.
Behind the desk and cubicles. You know, we're like throwing airplanes at each other. It's like,
she was right over the hill. She was right next door to me. So we throw stuff at each other.
Yeah. I enjoyed my program because that was making a difference. It was something I was passionate about, but there was way too much time behind my desk. Like, I loved being out in the field and interacting and playing with the kids. Like, I'm running with them. But it was mostly sitting behind your computer and like twiddling your thumbs. Like, I was trying to do more and more and more. But my boss was like, you need to like lay low. You're making me look bad.
Calm down.
So I'm like, I can't. I want to do it all.
Go. Yeah. So we did that. And then that's when we decided, from there, we were talking about we should open something that handles both of our passions.
Yeah, I remember it was
Christmas time.
No, we were hating our jobs, and then like we would be able to take walking breaks. So we would take our walking breaks out in the parking lot, and Ben starts talking about this harebrained idea of let's just move where we want to live with our daughter, where we want to raise her, and let's just put all of our skills together. And I was like, you're crazy. There's no way. So this whole movement is Ben and me believing in him and following him. But like, there's no way I ever imagined opening up a studio of my own with, you know, so this is mostly Ben's craziness.
It's just my idea. The execution is all us.
Yeah.
So then we decided Prescott, because we were going up to Prescott. We were coming up here every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every 3-day weekend.
Every chance we can get.
Every chance we could get, we were getting out of Tucson. So it was kind of a no-brainer. So we liquidated a bunch of stuff. We had 2 cars. We sold her car and just made the move. Moved into a little house in Yavapai Hills, a little 2-bedroom. We rented for a lot of years. Loved that little house. And then opened it up like a year later or whatever.
Yeah. What was that like when you opened up the doors for the first time? How did you feel?
When we first moved here and just tried to establish ourselves, the months before, we would drive up and see Hal at, what was that place?
Score. The Score is a not-for-profit. Basically, I don't know what it stands for, but they've got like international business execs, big people in business who are retired now, who it's just a not-for-profit. They just help you plan your business. And we wrote a business plan. And then we would bring it into Hal, and he would chew us up and spit us out and say, come back. And we'd come back a week later, and he'd do the same thing. That happened 4 or 5 times before he thought we had a plan that was viable. And because neither of us are business people, we're both artists.
And we're not from here. So he was actually the one that told us, because we originally wanted to open in Prescott. And he's like, oh, no, you need to open in Prescott Valley. That's going to be the growing town that you want to be in. More families are coming in, and the rent is a little bit better. So we just kind of followed his lead. Whatever he suggested, we would make those changes. And it's funny, one of our initial meetings, he's like, are you sure you don't want to just open in like Scottsdale or somewhere in Phoenix? You'll get so much more money and blah, blah, blah. We're like, no,
we don't want to live.
We don't want to live there. So what was it like opening up? It was terrifying. It was funny. Like I said, in that time when we were establishing and we finally moved up here, Ben took like you worked at Safeway, so he did.
Yeah, I was a pharmacy tech for a while. So I had a lot of side jobs where we would put all the money I was making from the side job into the business,
open the business.
to make sure that the business we were keeping it
and then I was
alive.
teaching like 22 classes, so I was like the main person. But yeah, not knowing a single person except my parents, and my parents aren't really, they're not really social media people. They only know a few in their neighborhood, but it's not like they could promote us. But word of mouth, living in a small town, and word of mouth has just been amazing. That's literally our main marketing when we opened.
Yeah.
We did do one
We tried to do
coupon book, one of those coupon books. We paid for that, but I don't even think that was helping us. I think it was mainly just like one person would come in and then they would tell their friends, and those friends would tell their friends and who they work with. And it just kind of trickled down. And every single person that walked through our doors, we were amazed how friendly they were. And like, they literally become like family to us. So yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah. My daughter was one of your, I think, first students in that first year.
Mm-hmm.
And
we
had a few privates, I think, because I didn't have a class. But
we would just open the doors and then just wait for people to come in. I remember those first the first 3 or 4 or 5 days, it was like, is somebody going to come? And one or two people would come in, and she'd have basically a semi-private with them for a fitness class or whatever. My first Kempo student was Riker Wells. His dad delivered the flooring to us when we were putting our floors in. And he just said, hey, my son's into Kempo, and he'd be willing to help you put it in if you want to do some trade stuff. And I was like, sure, send the kid in. He ended up being my first adult black belt, and he still comes back.
He's amazing. Yeah, he moved to LA.
He's in LA
but every time he comes into town, he comes and takes classes, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
And we were like, his father, Charles, was like really nice. And I was like, what do you want? Why are you being so nice to us? But that's just the town we live in. So we knew we made the right decision based on those first interactions,
Most definitely. And you guys are gifted in what you do too. It's not that it just happened. You guys truly pour into your students and the people that come through your doors. And I saw that very firsthand with my daughter. I mean, she had been through several different dance studios and schools, and Sasha, really worked with her. And next thing I knew, she was thriving and growing and just becoming very good. And then she joined the color guard in high school, and I really saw her put all of those skills to that. And it was so amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh, where did that show face come from?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And now she's an adult. That's so
I know.
crazy.
It's so crazy how fast the years
Beautiful.
go. So with your business, I mean, you started out in, I believe, the 2 suites. And then you slowly grew into basically taking up more space.
Yeah, we kept trying to make sure that we were keeping up with the demand, and so we just picked up 1 suite at a time. At one point, we had all 6 of them. It's a 6 suite, 2 buildings, 3 suites each. At one point, we had all 6, and then 2019 was kind of rough on us, and then COVID came, so we had to restructure a little bit and reorganize. And we the business part of it was trial by fire for us. We're both artists, and we did that part of it very well. But the business side,
we were terrible at business in the beginning.
We had to take our lumps and learn from our mistakes. And, but we survived all of that, and now it's going great. So now we kind of know what we're doing on the business side too. And so we are, expanding again, thinking about, so it's working great.
Yeah.
Right now, knock on wood.
Tell us about the challenges that COVID had.
Yeah.
Oh, is that me?
Yeah.
So it's funny because you think COVID would be the one that would take you out, but it actually wasn't. It was 2019. We had some other years in our earlier years where it was getting rough. I think after our first initial expansion, it was great. And, but then when I got pregnant with Eldon, we had a lot of people drop, and maybe I just wasn't cool pregnant and trying to work people out. But we had a drop there. But then 2019, that one was the hardest for us. I think we lost a teacher, and that teacher took a lot of our clients. And so when our new dance season started, it was really tough. And our business loan kept raising their interest rate on us. I think, where did it end? It was like 28%.
It was
something
hard.
Ridiculous. So we were struggling big time. So looking at all of our suites and our rent going up to, not too bad, that's normal, but still just everything kept adding up. So that's when we had to make some hard decisions and reduce our size, revamp our entire business.
Yeah.
And then we reopen as the Movement Studio, because we used to be Fusion of Movement, in January, and it was actually great. I think it just brought new life to everything, because we were in a different mindset for that, because that was when we decided we are going to fight for this. So we came in fresh and ready. Everything was great. And then March of 2020 came.
COVID happened.
But ironically enough, it did not really hurt us as bad as you would think. We got that loan, or not the loan, the
PPP. So we got a PPP. There was also some sort of grant that we got that they were giving out. And then we just told because the clientele is so supportive, we just said, look, we'll do videos online. We'll teach outside. We did not stop. We did not stop working. We kept paying our staff. I was doing all online, like live feed videos for my fitness up until they released you could meet in person, but you had a capacity. So then we opened up our garage doors and I would do classes outside. For dance, we have our one space is like 2,200 square feet. Yeah, the big one.
One of our big studios. So then I would do reduced size dance classes. And the thing about that is we do our big showcase, our dance showcase every June. And because it was still restricted, Ben and I got on, I think we did a YouTube video just to send out to all the families and say, look, we promise you, we will do this showcase no matter what it looks like. If we have to do 4 shows to keep the capacity down, we're going to do it. And that's what we did. We just had to wait until, I think it was August.
Yeah, we pushed it back.
So we told because all the kids had their costumes. Like, this is when you're really gearing up for the end of the season. So over the summer, we just kept doing videos and live feeds. And then I brought in small groups. So it was actually more work than ever for that kind of teaching, because I had to do so many classes with less people. But
and then we did 4 shows.
4 shows
where we would bring
limited
in
capacity,
but these classes, and then they would all leave and we'd reset and bring the next group in. It took forever, but it worked.
Yeah, it was.
Everybody got to perform.
Good. Yeah.
So, and everybody was itching to. They were, by that point, everybody was like,
yeah. And that's the other thing about COVID is these parents want their kids to interact and socialize and be in something that they enjoy when the world was so scary and they're stuck at home all the time. So to have that access to, even if it's through your computer, which was obnoxious at times, but like, oh yeah, I have class, and they'd log in, they'd see all their friends. And so, it was great to be that outlet for them, because they needed it. I know our kids needed it. Like you have to have that social interaction and movement. Like, that's huge. So I think once everything was fully lifted, they just came in droves, it's
been really good since it's been kind of reminded everybody, like how important it is. Yeah.
Those things are. Yeah.
So,
yeah, definitely. And that I'm so glad to hear that it actually boosted things for you. And like you said, suddenly people realized what a need it really was. It wasn't just a luxury item, that now it's truly a need.
Yeah.
I think so, have that physical and which helps your mental, which helps a lot of things, right? You have to have all that in place. So Ben, you have something exciting to tell us too, an extension of what you had.
Yes. So we've been working, we've been doing junior musicals pretty much since we opened. We did Cinderella way back when, and It's a Wonderful Life in the Movement Studio as the Movement Studio. And I called I said, Footlight Productions. I just picked a name. I didn't have the legal rights to it. I said, we're just going to call it Footlight Productions to give it a name. And so we would operate Footlight Productions out of the Movement Studio, but it was basically just the Movement Studio. And then because things were going so well with the theater part of it, I said, let's take the next level. The next step is making Footlight Productions a 501c3. So I had one of our staff write the request in November to become a 501c3. And I was expecting them to take 6 months to turn it around and bring it back. And like 6 weeks later, we had an approval letter. So this is like mid-November, and all of a sudden I have a 501c3. We have a 501c3. And I was like, well, this is great, but I don't have a board. I don't have bylaws. I don't have a budget.
Ready.
I don't have a cash flow. I don't have a business. I mean, there's all this stuff that if we want to start in January, I have, like 6 weeks to get this stuff done. So I buckled down and wrote a bunch of stuff and wrote a bunch of fundraising things. And, but we now officially have a Footlight Productions, which is a 501c3. And it's going really well. We just did Aladdin with that group. We had like 65 kids in that, multiple casts, and that went really well. And then we just cast Joseph in his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which is going to go up in September. And this one we're going to do at the Elks Theater. And I had like 85 people audition for that one. We're going to pursue some choirs to sing in the back. So that show should have 110 people in it, each show. It's going to be huge.
And it's an epic show. And it's the first time that we've taken anything of Footlights to a theater. Because I don't know if you've seen our space. I'm sure you have, when we trick it out into like a black box theater. So Ben made those curtains. He ordered every show that we've done. We take the profits and we just upgrade. So we have an amazing lighting system. So we do well inside the space, but it's only holds so many. And so to take this show with a huge cast and actually put it on a big stage is huge for us. We're really excited to do that. We're gonna have a live orchestra. Like it's going to be
six shows over 2 weekends in September, and that ticket information will go up soon. But we're getting through. We've got some other little musical theater reviews and stuff this weekend. We're going to do Seussical Kids over the summer. That's a summer intensive. That audition is coming up soon, the 15th. At the studio. We'll audition that on the 15th of this month, and then give the kids their scripts. And then we bring them back in the second or third week of July, and we do 3 days of blocking, a couple days of tech, and then there's a show. So we put on this half-hour kids musical in 5 days, as an intensive summer camp. And then the Movement has all sorts of dance summer camps that are up. We've got a Frozen one and a Bluey one and a Disney Princess one. And Sasha is auditioning the dance team.
Oh, my competitive dance team. Yeah, that's next Friday.
Yeah.
So we've got our competitive dance team this year was 49 dancers, ages, I want to say 6 was the youngest, up to 17. So I'm excited to see the turnout this Friday, because now that all the kids saw what our teams do, because we had a lot of new kids this session, they're all excited to audition. So it'll be fun. But yeah, just busy all the time. It really never stops. That's why our vacation that we take in the summer is, it's going to be a good one, because we need it to reboot and do it all over again.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys have to have time for yourself to reset and refresh and all of that. You guys truly are American dream makers. I'm sitting here listening to your story and the things that you have accomplished and the things you even gave up to do what you're doing today. And to push through, you talked about earlier how, you decided you were going to fight for the business. What was the reason for the fight? Why did you come out fighting so strong? Because you could have easily said, forget it, we'll just go do something else.
It was the people. We had too many people that loved it, too many people that counted on us. And then, of course, our kids were. Yeah,
I want to say definitely the people, because so many of them are so close with us. But I think the thing that made us finalize that push, like, yes, we're going to push, because it would have been so much easier to walk away, was our kids. Because the whole purpose of our business was initially our daughter, because Leela was only 1.5 when he came up with this idea, because we didn't like where we lived. We didn't feel like it was home in Tucson. And we still felt like our daughter, we didn't get to see her as much as we thought we would with that new job at the county. And, we're so far from family. And so moving up, she was the reason. And the fact that our whole premise of our business, our vision of our business has always been family. Family is why we opened it. Family is what we welcome. We wanted to build a place where everyone can come. So mom and dad can be working out while junior's in Kempo and daughter's in dance. Like, we wanted somewhere that everybody can go. We have a play zone, which is like a little child care center for, the younger parent that has little kids that, they can still come to class, and the kids are just right there, right next door, hanging out, having fun. So Leela and Eldon, when we were having that hard conversation with them, just it hurt our hearts too much to take that away from them too, because this is their life. It's always been their life. And thankfully they love what we do. Both our kids love acting and they love dancing.
We just did our first show where all four of us, we did Spam-A-Lot.
So fun.
And all four of us were in that. It was fun.
That is great that it truly is a family business that you got going on. And your kids are growing up and learning so many things. You guys are great examples of just pushing through and living a dream. You guys had a vision, or I guess Ben had a vision, and he was so charming. He brought
crazy enough to go along with
it. and how cool is that? So the other question I have, how long have you two been married for now?
Oh, next week is our 19th anniversary. On the 20th. So the 18th is my birthday, and then the 20th is our anniversary. So I have this thing that I call it my anniversary, because the week of our wedding, we kind of made it a family affair. We got married on a Thursday, so we had
in Lake Tahoe.
We had our family come midweek, like they came Monday. We did picnics and barbecues. I had my birthday, and then we got married 2 days later. So it's a big week next week, although we're just working. But that's all right.
We are going to Vegas the week after that for our anniversary. So we had to push it back a week.
That's all right.
Well, happy anniversary. 19 years, and you have a business together. You've been through the ringer, and yet you still like each other. So what's the secret?
What do you always say?
You're not the boss?
I am. What's your saying?
Nothing worth doing is easy.
Yeah, that one.
Nothing worth doing.
That's very true. Nothing worth doing is easy. And like we talked about earlier, we share so many passions together. Even though I'm not an actress or a singer, I love the arts so much. And we kind of bounce off each other with ideas all the time. There's a lot of grace in between, because I am a Taurus, a very stubborn bull. So thank God I married Ben, because he's like the most patient man ever. But there's a lot of give and take, and communication's huge. I don't know. Let go of the ego. That's your other thing.
Cut the ego. That's it.
Don't go to bed angry.
Don't go to bed angry.
Those are all great tips.
Yes.
Sure. Because that's a different dynamic. Every marriage has it can have its challenges. Most people do. Yeah. But then when you add that you work together, you see each other consistently, and you're running a business together. You're bringing the business home with you. It's always on your mind. It's always,
Yeah. If we didn't love it, it would be a catastrophe.
Yeah.
Right. And so seeing you work together as a team and really growing that dream and living and not being afraid to live it out is very inspiring, which is exactly what American Dream Makers is all about, is to bring people on who inspire, who impact and transform lives. You guys are doing all of those things. So kudos to you. You guys are truly amazing. And the community absolutely is thriving because you guys are thriving. I hope you see that.
It's nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate
Yeah,
that.
your words are amazing. I'm like, oh, wow. That sounds nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, sometimes when you're in the middle of the grind, you don't see that, because you're just right in there. And so when you've got people on the outside view, this is why, having a community of people is so important, because sometimes having that outside view telling you what they're seeing, whether it's good, bad, or the ugly, it's all good stuff, because it helps me, I know for sure, to be better, to be the better version.
Well, and I believe growth comes from the people you surround yourself with. And I think in a lot of those earlier years, we had a decent staff, but a lot of times things didn't jive. But the other part of us thriving now is we are so blessed with the staff we have. And several of them have been with us for years now. And a few are just kind of new last 3 years. But I just feel like the energy that you surround yourself with will help you thrive as well. So we're super grateful of our team.
Yeah.
We call them the crew, the movement crew.
Thank you, movement crew. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, movement crew.
Yes.
There's a lot of moving parts you guys have, so you named it very accordingly.
Yes. Yeah. I always joke and say we should add like car detailing in the parking lot. Probably do some dog grooming in the back.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of things we could do. Just kidding. No.
Yeah. There's a lot of things you could, but yeah. Anything else that you would, I guess, give advice to somebody who is maybe in the beginning of starting a vision, that they have a dream that they have, anything that you want to impart on them?
You have to jump.
Take the leap of faith.
You just have to jump. If you're passionate enough about it, you have to jump and just be willing to take your lumps and keep working to make it happen. Because the alternative is security with no passion, which is no fun.
Which is not much of a life, huh?
not in the long run. So take your risk, find your passion, and go for it.
And work hard.
Work hard.
So with, I guess, looking back now, when you were in your 20s, you were in LA, hoping and wishing and working towards landing jobs that would make you famous, right? With big roles and all that.
Maybe for him, that's not so much for dancers, but yeah, just getting gigs.
I love the art. I love the art of acting and the art of musical theater and the art of singing. So for me, it was just being able to get something that would let me do that all the time. And I went to a lot of auditions. I got to the point where I loved going to auditions because I just got to practice the art. So people get nervous about those, but I would roll in and it would be like a challenge, a fun sort of challenge. But it's really difficult. So when we moved back and started doing it here now, like the opportunities to execute the art are significantly more than they were in LA because it's just a small town. So big fish in a little pond is okay. Once you've seen the big pond, it's like, okay. So we love the art. I think that's,
and I think once we left LA and kind of switch gears to the teaching mode, it's a different world, and it like gives back even more.
Yeah, it's fun to watch.
We love
kids
being
grow
on
up.
stage. We love performing, but then having the aspect of being that teacher and helping inspire them and having, I don't know, it feels good to make that difference in someone else, because they might be like you someday and grow and move and travel and do all those things, or not. But either way, in this moment in time, if they love the art and they want to explore it, we love that we are a part of it.
And we get to see the kids grow from little 4-year-olds and they spend
to 23.
to 23, right?
She wasn't 4 when she started, but still, it's
From
like,
you know, if they spend their whole lives growing up and growing artistically. And like when we were at the high school, we got them for 4 years and then they left, right? You go teach at college, it's the same way. You get them for a little tiny piece of their life. At the studio, some of these kids have been with us the whole time.
mm-hmm.
So we're getting to see these kids, and now like Leela's almost in high school and her whole group. Now they've been dancing together for
years.
So you get to see their growth and take advantage of it. So we'll put them in shows, and the shows will just keep getting better because
they're getting better.
You know?
Yeah, it's fun.
It's awesome.
That's great to hear. I mean, you guys are just phenomenal people, and you truly love people, love kids, and we can see that for sure. And the fact that you just love seeing somebody progress and grow and be I guess that you're a positive influence. And not only that, seeing you guys together, you guys are a couple that really seem to bring out the best in each other. Like you are, it's a very synergistic relationship, and not every marriage has that. But you guys really fuel each other's passion. So one starts dreaming, the other one starts dreaming some more, and I see that as you guys talk about that. I can see it, I can feel it. So that's 19 years was probably a very exciting 19 years of adventure.
It's been fun.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you again so much for taking the time out of your extremely busy schedule and being on American Dreammakers. I know your story will inspire many to come. And the beauty about social media is that it reaches a big audience, as we have found over the several years here, is that it hits even bigger than the news channels and things that we used to see traditionally. But the social media platform is huge. And so I really encourage, for all of you that know Sasha and Ben, just share this out, get their message out. What an inspiration they are. They are totally American Dreammakers. We need more people like them in our world to make this world a better place. And because you're already making Prescott Valley a better place for sure. So I'm going to say goodbye to you guys for now, but don't go away. I'll be right back. So, but thank you again.
Thank you so much for having us.
It was good.
You guys, thank you again so much for joining us here today on American Dreammakers. We are definitely here to help inspire, impact, and transform. And so if you have an inspiring story, I would love to hear about it. And if you're not part of the American Dreammakers group, please go ahead and join. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll be back next Wednesday.